Hi there, I'm Matthew from VitalSpace Estate Agents, and I wanted to take just a few minutes today to update all of our landlords on the upcoming changes introduced by the UK Renters' Rights Act 2025. This legislation represents the biggest shake-up to the private rented sector in decades, and it's really important that you understand firstly what's changing, when it's happening, and what this means for you as a landlord. So what is the Renters' Rights Act and when does it start? So the Renters' Rights Act received royal assent on the 27th of October 2025, which means it's now law. However, the majority of the key changes will not come into force until the 1st of May 2026. That said, there are some important interim changes starting slightly earlier. So from the 27th of December 2025, local councils will have expanded powers to request documentation and investigate landlords' compliance. So preparation really does need to start now. Some more key changes that you need to be aware of. So let's go through the main changes that will affect you as a landlord. So firstly, fixed term tenancies are completely coming to an end. Under the new Act, fixed term assured short hold tenancies will be abolished, and they will be replaced by open-ended periodic tenancies. This means tenancies will automatically continue on a rolling basis, and tenants will be given notice based on how often the rent is paid, so in most cases 1 month's notice. Just to be clear, 6 and 12-month tenancies will no longer be default. Clearly a major change in how tenancies operate in practice. Number 2, Section 21 will be abolished. So from May again in 2026, Section 21, or what's known as the no-fault eviction, will be removed entirely. Landlords will instead need to rely on Section 8 grounds to regain possession of a property. So that means that there must be a clear lawful reason, such as rent arrears or breach of tenancy terms, to enact that Section 8. Again, accurate record keeping, correct procedures and processes will be more important than ever throughout these changes. Thirdly, rent increases will now become more heavily regulated. So rent increases will be limited to once per year, and they must be served under a Section 13 notice, with at least 2 months' notice given to the tenants. Tenants will also have greater rights to challenge those increases if they feel they do not reflect accurate market values. As an agent, we'll be closely monitoring those market conditions and ensuring all notices are served correctly and fully compliant. Fourth, advertising and discrimination rules. The Act also introduces new rules around how properties are advertised. Rental adverts must clearly show the asking rent, and landlords will no longer be able to accept any offers above that price. There's also a ban on discrimination against tenants with children or those in receipt of benefits. This means marketing language and application processes must be fully compliant within the new legislation. And fifth, changes to pet requests. So not applicable to all of our landlords, but tenants will gain a strengthened right to request keeping pets in your property. Landlords cannot unreasonably refuse, and you will no longer be able to insist on things like pet insurance as a condition of the consent. VitalSpace will guide you through on how to handle pet requests fairly while still protecting your property. So, early requirements and preparation that can be done now. There's also some important, really early requirements to be made aware of as a landlord. So by March 2026, the government will be issuing a formal information guide explaining tenants' rights under the Act. We'll obviously send this out to all landlords and go through it at that stage, but by the end of May 2026, this guide must be served to all existing tenants that live in your property, and failure to do so could result in penalties. Remember, from December 2025 onwards, councils can already request documentation, so again, keeping records organised is essential. So just to give you a bit more information about what VitalSpace is doing for you as a landlord. At VitalSpace, we're already preparing well ahead of these changes. We'll be looking at reviewing all of the tenancy procedures, updating the marketing documentation that's provided alongside your property, tracking those rent increases and the requirements behind them and what will be needed to support those increases to your tenants, preparing for all the council inspections that may be needed, and keeping you informed of every step along the way. Our goal as a company is to make this transition as smooth and stress-free as possible for you. So, as I've highlighted, there are quite a few changes, and they are landmark changes in UK rental legislation and how we operate. So staying ahead of it is vital in protecting your investment and remaining fully compliant. If you have any questions at all or would like to discuss how this affects your property specifically, please contact myself at matthew@vitalspace.co.uk or give us a call in the office on 0161 747 7807 and we can discuss your case specifically. Again, thank you for your time. We'll continue to keep you updated as the new rules come into effect.